Alright guys, Smith&Wesson CSX. This is a micro 9mm, single action only, hammer fired, with the magazine currently installed there, 12+1 capacity. Also comes with a 10 round, more flush fit mag there. There's with the 10 rounder there. I'll have a little bit on the smaller size of hands for a guy. You can see there, I'm barely getting my pinky on there, so anyone with any larger hands, it's not going to be there at all. However, I can tell you by holding it, I know as soon as I shoot, my pinky's going to slip anyways, so I'm just going to hold my pinky under like that for the 10 round mag. And then with a 12 rounder, feels absolutely perfect to me. Still hanging off a little, but I actually feel like I have a good grip on it there. So there she is with the 12 rounder, even with my small medium sized hands hanging off a little bit, but other than that, feels good. I think if you have big arse hands, may not be the gun for you. Also comes with interchangeable back strap there. I did install this and try it out. Definitely like this one better, even though I have smaller hands. And also you can see it's missing the side flares there, so it kind of looks like crap if you ask me too, because it takes away this part right here to run this smaller grip, and then you just kind of have like a void there that's like cut out in the metal in the same shape, because the smaller one here, it only runs down the edge like that. Ambi safety, it's not difficult, but much more difficult to flip on than off, so I like that. It takes about twice the resistance to hit it on than it does off, so just a little tiny flick there is going to get it off for you if you carry with the safety on. And because it's twice as hard to flick it up, you're not going to accidentally be flicking the safety up on this thing. Okay, that's interesting. So slide lock is ambi as well. That's rare, I usually don't see that. So this is actually part of the takedown lever. The slide lock is one and the same, so I don't know if you can actually utilize this side of it as a slide lock. Front and rear serrations, this finish is a little bit slick here, but these have a nice sharp cut to them, so no issues there. Slippage. Standard 3-dot white sights. And I don't know if you can tell already, but I'm just holding this with one hand, but this thing is super, super steady. Okay. Trigger pull on this, you do have this itty bitty little trigger safety there. There's almost no take up on this, and it's part of the reason I've been so excited to try this out. So there's your take up, and we'll pull through. Nice clean crisp brake with no creep, no travel. Smooth and not gritty. Let me get the reset for you. Now on the reset, very short reset as well. I'm interested to see if this is going to affect me out here today. I've seen some other videos of people complaining about this, but this has kind of a false reset. It's very hard for me to probably get on camera here, but if you listen real careful, it like kind of sets right before the reset, and that's throwing a few guys off. So let me see if I can catch that. It's kind of hard to get it at times. Right there, little tiny click, and it kind of stops. Okay, but it's not reset at that point. You got to let it out just a hair more. Right there's the reset, and then she'll go. So there's that little tiny click, I don't know, a fraction of a millimeter at most, before it actually resets. But I can't help but think that under normal firing circumstances, that's going to be a non-factor, at least for me. It's messed some guys up, and I was like, I couldn't wait to get this in my hands to see if, man, what are they talking about, and is this going to be an issue for me? So I am finding what they were talking about there, which I just highlighted, but personally I don't think it's going to be an issue, especially with that reset being so short. So unless I'm trying to find where it resets super slow, like what I just showed you guys, which is going to be way slower than what I'm actually going to be doing while firing, I don't think it's going to be an issue for me, but we'll find out. And the trigger weight on that, by the way, about 6.5 pounds. So we'll get started here. I'll stand back behind this target 7 yards and take some initial shots, see where our point of impact is, see if I need to adjust the sights any, which they are windage driftable. So if she's off to the left or right for you, you can adjust that. And also while I'm here, I should point out, you can see those serrations or lines, or what would you call them, on the top of the rail there, so that helps with the glare. That way you're not getting a glare on your sights in full sun. Plus you can see the hole there behind the chamber, so you can see if you have a loaded chamber. Using Federal ammunition, FMJ 115 grain, and boy, those were a little bit stiff to load. The last round especially was pretty difficult to get in there. I usually don't have an issue with 9mm, and I flipped this thing up and whatnot, and I am not seeing a mag loader assister or anything in there, so that's something to keep in mind. So hopefully they'll break in over time, but as of right now, brand new out of the box, they are pretty stiff. Okay, that's interesting. So as you can see there, they're not fully feeding home. That's not good. I was going to say at first, I was like, man, that's real light recoil. So I don't know if, I mean, I can tell you right now, the ergonomics on this thing are fantastic. And it is a little bit heavier, being a all metal gun, metal frame and whatnot. But that was definitely the lightest recoil I've ever felt from a micro 9mm, which again, being heavier than all the other polymer ones, is going to help. But so I don't know if that's just that ammo. I've been shooting that stuff, not had any issues, so could just be new gun break-in. Need a little lube and whatnot, but we'll keep going here. That's the issue I'm having so far, which I've not seen anyone have that issue. But it's not wanting to fully chamber the rounds for me. Should be able to see on the target there. So I was doing a 6 o'clock hold on that oval. I pulled that one off to the right. So it's interesting. I'm getting more and more guns these days where it's what I call a cover hold. Holding 6 o'clock on that, and they're hitting right where the white dot is. So for me today in my hands, that's the hold right there. You're going to have to actually cover what you want to hit because it's going right where the white dot is. Now that was the 10 round mag. Let's try the 12 round mag. Okay, so the 12 rounder ran no problem. Let's load this 10 round up again. And I'm not quite sure why, but I'm tending to pull my shots off to the right with this one, so I'm going to have to work on that. Alright, well, it seems to be running good now, and that mag the second time around was much easier to load, so that may have been why. I just had to loosen up the spring and follower and whatnot in that 10 round mag. But yeah, the recoil on that thing is insanely light. Even with this little 10 rounder, my pinky hanging clear off the bottom, as I said in the beginning, I'm just tucking my pinky down here under the mag. I'm having no issue whatsoever hanging on to that. And actually, let me pull my backup pocket pistol out here. This little LCP Max 380. Okay, 380, much lighter recoil than 9mm, right? You can see there, it's barely bigger than the LCP Max. I mean, it is quite a bit wider in the grip there, but that thing's easier with 9mm to hold on to with my pinky dangling off there than the LCP is with only 380 with my pinky dangling off there. So super light recoil on this for a micro 9mm, super controllable for a micro 9mm. Now compared to a full size, no, but I am just blown away how easy it is to shoot this little micro 9mm here. Just want to point out, because I'm about to try this 10+1 the way you would carry it if you were carrying the 10 round mag. I believe that's why we're having the issues earlier. Of course, break-in's going to help and whatnot. I don't know how well you can tell, but this sucker is bone dry. I get crap for this all the time, but I like to run pistols straight out of the box because it's a real good reliability test, especially if they come from the factory dry like this one did. Because a gun that runs dry is always going to run wet. But this one is struggling a little bit. Even when I went chamber around the last few times I went up to shoot, I noticed it was slow for the slide to return. And I forgot my lube. It's kind of leaking on me, so I actually looked at it on the way out, and I'm like, I should probably bring that. And I'm like, I don't want it leaking all over my stuff and my box and getting everything all oily. But as it would turn out, I need it today. So it just occurred to me I should just carry that in a little Ziploc bag, and then I don't have to worry about it leaking all over anything. Anyways, this thing is bone dry. These rails are completely dry. The slide's completely dry. This is a gun that's going to want to be wet to run good. So there is that. I don't think we would have had any issues today if I had some lubrication on me, so that wasn't bone dry like that. But as I said, I like to do that as a test, and that test right there is telling me this is not one that's going to run very good dry or dirty, so you're going to have to stay on top of the maintenance on this one. I'll walk up 7 yards, see how quick I can run this thing. Not too bad. It was a little harder the second mag because I was trying to hold the other one under my armpit. Yeah, the rapid fire is real controllable due to the light recoil impulse of this thing. A lot of times with those polymer micros, I'd be slinging them everywhere trying to rapid fire like that. But this thing was real controlled and stayed on point. Alright, so now I'll come back here behind the table. Laser rangefinder confirmed. 15 yards to the back row there of all the blue bowling pins and whatnot. We'll just take some slow, steady shots, see if we can hit those. And keep in mind, it's about the size of a headshot back here at 15 yards. Hit low on that last one. I don't know why I'm struggling now. I did great on the left side. Anyway, she's more than capable of accuracy out there. Headshots 15 yards. So she's still running flawless now after that first mag. No more hang-ups, even though it's bone dry, so that's good. So keep her lubed up like you're supposed to, and you're not going to have any issues there. Plus, I think a little bit hotter ammo, like some carry ammo, instead of this, cheapy practice stuff. It's going to cycle that a little bit harder, which would have helped it feed better too. But again, really the issue is it's literally bone dry there. It needs some lube. So yeah, just like I thought and stated in the beginning, I didn't have any issue with catching that quote weird reset that some people were having issues with, where they get a false reset and they think it reset and then it didn't and they got a dead trigger. I didn't have that issue at all. The only thing I will say is I wish the trigger was a little bit lighter. Like I said, it's like about 6.5 pounds, and that's just a little heavier than my taste. I don't like to be any higher than in the 5-pound range, preferably lighter, but I don't mind like a 5-pound trigger in a carry gun. You don't want it too light. So I actually think that's why I'm pulling some of those shots to the right, especially back here at 15 yards. If I don't do a nice slow pull through, then I'm catching myself pulling it to the right slightly. I think it's that heavier than what I'm used to trigger weight there. But other than my errors, she's a great shooter. Pretty accurate little micro 9 there. And again, real tame on the recoil. And I'm not having any issues. Sometimes people ask me, like, you ever get, you know, your finger pinched, or you ever get the slide hit in your hand or anything like that? I'm not having any issues, as you can see there. No red marks, nothing. I'm not getting chewed up or anything. But I do believe if you're a bigger dude, you might have those issues with this little tiny gun. But me personally, I'm not having any of those issues. So, but yeah, overall, I really like the gun. Like I said, it's plenty capable, plenty accurate. It's real accurate for a micro 9. I'm just not personally quite liking it as much as I had anticipated that I would, but it's because of my own errors. I'm personally having issues pulling some of those shots to the right. Like I said, for me, it's just a little bit heavier trigger than I would like. But that's 100% me. The gun's more than capable. As you saw back there, when they're going off to the right or whatever and missing, it's because of me. But huge positives with this gun. Again, very, very tame recoil for a micro 9mm. Very comfortable in the hands, at least for my hands. You got real good capacity for the size as well. As I showed you guys, it's barely bigger than my max here. And it holds 12 rounds of 9mm. And this is 10 rounds of 380. So yeah, again, it's a lot heavier, a lot wider, but overall, like, the amount of space it's going to take up there, that's crazy. Lighter recoiling than this 380, and barely any longer there, holding 12 rounds of 9mm instead of 380. If you put the flush fit in there, it's going to be the same length, holding the exact same amount of ammunition, only it's 9mm instead of 380. And you're getting that 9mm power with less recoil, with less felt recoil. So that aspect of it, absolutely amazing. And then again, only that first mag did we have those issues. So you could just, I guess, chalk that up to break-in, like I said, completely dry. But after that first mag, ran 100% flawless. So I guess there's a decent chance after, you know, break-in that it'll run dry and dirty for you anyways, you know. But of course you should keep her lubed. That'll do it for this one, guys. If you want to get yourself any of the products you see me use in any of my videos, links in the description. But I appreciate y'all stopping by and checking this one out, and I hope to catch you on the next one.